Hi friends of cocktails, I'm 𝗡𝗲𝘄𝗀𝗃𝗁𝗁, and this is me making cocktails for the most influential bartending movie. I studied the movie, made some notes, and tried the cocktails, so you don't have to. The goal of today's episode is not to show you how they were made in the movie, it's to turn those cocktails into something good enough for cocktail bars around the world today. Along the way, I'll show a few hacks that you can use for other cocktails as well. I know I have 20 years of experience, but once I was a rookie bartender, just like young Mr. Flanagan. But is Tom a better Flair bartender than me?
It's cocktail time.
I can easily relate to Tom Cruise as the young bartender making his first cocktails and struggling with the basics. The first Cuba Libre I ever made was shaken. I was still a complete rookie with a list of ingredients, and I just thought every cocktail had to be shaken. Luckily, my cousin, who was the owner of the bar, saw what I was doing and gave me my first important lesson: never shake anything fizzy. That's why the movie Cocktail is more than just a romantic drama set in bars. The 1988 movie stars Tom Cruise as Brian Flanagan and Brian Brown as his cynical mentor Doc Coughlin. Aside from the drama, love and heartbreak, it showed that if you're willing to work hard, you can make a name for yourself, entertain crowds, and chase your dreams. It also made Flair bartending really popular. But let's focus on the cocktails and see if I can make them better. The first cocktail I'll make is the last one we see Brian Flanagan make in the movie, the Daiquiri. And the first thing he did is grabbing the hurricane glass, which is a glass I wouldn't serve a Daiquiri in. A lot of whipped pouring. The drink is blended, which again makes sense since it looks like that this bar is a beach bar. A blue straw, and that's it. No garnish this time. It looks more like a pina colada than daiquiri, but still. Now we have something to work from. The second cocktail will actually be the one you saw in the intro. So Brian is getting a lot of orders, he's clearly under the water and stressing out. So first thing he grabbed is beer because that's something that they ordered as well. And of course he served it with a cap on. And now he got a recipe book, so he has to check what a Cuba Libre is actually. And now he sees that it's actually just rum and coke. And Doc Coughlin is having a good time making all the drinks. And as you can see from the movie, it's really important to know all the classics, right? Without checking them in behind the bar. Again, plenty of orders, and now he made a Cuba Libre, actually rum and coke. And I'm not sure if he added any lime, but still, as for the first time, much better than I did. We already did a pro version of the rum and coke a while ago, so today I'll make an easy elevated version of the Cuba Libre. And lastly, we can't talk about cocktails from the movie without making the red eye.
You know how to make a red eye, Mr.
Brian Flanagan just stepped into the bar. And now he's pouring the beer into the glass. Which makes sense for bartenders because all bartenders love beer, right? Some tomato juice, he drank the leftover beer from the bottle. Did some Flair. Now he's adding some spices, probably hot sauce, salt, which is not actually seen, but it's in this recipe. And aspirin, and I wouldn't advise mixing alcohol and pills. Looks like that's what bartender did 35 years ago. And the whole egg. Of course I wouldn't serve this, but still, it's something that we can work on. You saw me trying it in the opening, and it's, let's say, we can make it better. First, the easiest of the three, a frozen daiquiri that actually looks like a daiquiri. And here's the first hack. When making blended drinks, always use crushed or pebble ice. It will give your drinks a smoother texture, instead of it being full of ice chunks. Apart from ice, we'll also need white rum, simple syrup, lime super juice, and saline solution. And a bonus tip, single serves don't blend as smoothly, so I'm making a triple batch, one for each of us here on set. Maybe that's why they use those giant hurricane glasses in the movie. So first, it's 2 ounces or 60 ml of white rum for each cocktail. Next, each one gets 1 ounce or 30 ml of simple syrup. For a shaken drink, I use less, but you need the added sweetness in a blended drink, and for that bright lime freshness, 1 ounce or 30 ml of lime super juice. I'm positive Flanagan would be flaring with a bottle of super juice if he was still behind the bar. Lastly, let's add 6 drops of 20% saline solution to boost the flavors. 2 for each cocktail. Now add in 150 grams of pebble ice per cocktail. That's about a scoop for each. Then it's time to blend. I'll link the pebble ice mold in the description. But you can also crush your ice beforehand if you only have bigger cubes. Once it's nicely blended, just pour into a coupe glass and that's it. No garnish in the movie, and I don't think this needs a straw either. Cheers guys! So this looks more like a daiquiri, right? Cheers. It's nicely balanced. Acidity and sweetness right on the spot. There's still enough alcohol kick in it. Fresh, crisp, delicious. Let's say quite runny, so it's easy to drink. If you want to have it more thick, just add a bit more ice. But I think we hit the right spot of the alcohol, acidity and sweetness with the texture as well. I love it. Next, let's elevate the Cuba Libre. In case you forgot, that's rum and coke, according to Flanagan's cocktail book. But we'll make it as a clarified and carbonated version. And here's tip number 2. You can use flavored milk or milk alternative to give your milk clarified cocktails an additional flavor profile. Coconut, almond, or chocolate milk all work. Even goat milk would work. But be careful with how much you use it. It will add a lot of flavor. I'll be using coconut milk to clarify coke and lime juice. But we'll also need rum and saline solution to build the cocktail. So first, let's mix the cola and lime juice. I'll use half of this liter bottle, so 500 milliliters, which is around 17 ounces. Then I'll add 3 ounces or 90 ml of fresh lime juice. Stir those together, so we get rid of the carbonation at this stage. We'll add that back in later. Now pour that over 5 ounces or 150 ml of coconut milk. The subtle coconut notes we'll get from this will pair nicely with the rum base of the Cuba Libre. Leave this to sit for about half an hour, then pour it through a coffee filter. If the first liquid coming through isn't clear at the start, just move the filter and refilter that first part. Once it's filtered, bottle it and place it in the fridge to chill. We now have the ingredients we need to build the elevated Cuba Libre: milk washed lime and coke, white rum, saline solution, and lime for garnish. And since we'll be carbonating the whole cocktail, we can make a bigger batch with 4 servings. It will be a 2:1 ratio of the milk washed lime and coke and the rum base. So into the twist and sparkle, I'm first adding 16 ounces or 480 ml of our clarified lime and coke. Follow that with 8 ounces or 240 ml of white rum. If you want more complexity, feel free to use something darker, but the Diplomatico Planas already has some coconut notes, so it will work great in this one. Let's not forget 8 drops of 20% saline solution to boost all of the flavors. Then close the bottle and charge the twist and sparkle with a CO2 cartridge. You can keep this in the fridge, but we'll serve it right away. Simply pour into a chilled highball glass or a clear ice beer. This easy serve could also help a rookie bartender on a busy first shift. In that case, maybe label the bottle so he'll know this is a
Cuba Libre!
For garnish, I'll add strings of lime peel on top of the ice. Now let's try coconut washed Cuba Libre, which looks like an iced tea more than a Cuba Libre or a Long Island iced tea. Cheers! Aroma is, of course, citrusy forward, lime forward, because there's plenty of essential oils on top of the ice. The taste is more subtle in terms of Coca-Cola and Cuba Libre, but with more coconut flavors, nutty notes, more rounded, let's say. Easy drinkable, refreshing, nicely carbonated as well. I really like it. I love it, actually.
So is this an elevated Cuba Libre?
100%. I think it is. And now for the main attraction, an updated version of the Red Eye. Remember, I said we are making drinks that you could find on the menu of a cocktail bars today, so dropping in the whole egg at the end is out of the question. And we're not adding aspirin either. Mixing alcohol and pills is never a good idea. I still think I found a way of using all the main parts of the Red Eye, but elevating it enough for the modern palate by making a fizz cocktail. The beer will be added last, and the tomato juice is clarified. The base of this cocktail will be scotch. We are keeping the hot sauce, salt, adding some Worcestershire sauce, and balancing everything with simple syrup and lemon juice. And instead of a whole egg, I'll be using just the egg white. Here's a quick tip on clarification. You can clarify the tomato juice with cryo-clarification. Just freeze the juice and let it melt. You can use this for other fruit and vegetable juices as well. With all that, we need to change the name as well, so I'm calling it the Fizzy Eye. I'll start by cutting and blending some fresh ripe tomatoes. Then pour this blended tomato puree into a container and place that in the freezer. Let it freeze all the way through. Then you'll place that block of frozen tomato juice on a strainer and let it slowly melt. The flavorful tomato juice will melt through, giving you a clear result. I'll bottle this and we're ready to build the Fizzy Eye. I'll start by separating the egg white through a cotton strainer. Then I'm adding the ingredients into the shaker. First, 1.5 ounce or 45 ml of scotch. If you've got one with higher proof, you can use that, but this will work great too. We'll need the same amount of tomato juice, 1.5 ounce or 45 ml of our clarified tomato juice. Next, to add the sweetness, I'm adding half an ounce or 50 ml of simple syrup. For the bright acidity and freshness of our fizz, I'm also adding 15 ml or half an ounce of lemon juice. For the spice and umami notes, we need 1 dash of hot sauce, 1 dash of Worcestershire sauce, and 1 dash of saline solution. Lastly, instead of the whole egg for the red eye, we need 3/4 ounce or 22.5 ml of egg white. To make it easier to measure, I'll give it a quick pulse with a milk frother. Once we have all the base ingredients, you can do a classic dry shake, or take the easier way of frothing up the whole cocktail using a milk frother. Then add ice and give it a good shake to chill the cocktail. Double strain into a chilled highball glass and wait for the frothy head to settle on the top. Now we top up the cocktail with 60 grams of cold beer. I'm using a lager. Using a scale lets you be precise, but still pour it directly from the bottle, not using a jigger. The foamy crown should lift a bit over the top of the glass, making this the garnish of the cocktail. It smells like beer fizz. Quite savory, much better than the classic red eye. I'm not a big fan of savory drinks, but still, I would have this one anytime actually. It's a nice drink. Tomato is present. I think tomato gives this savoriness together with Worcestershire sauce. Nicely, I would say nicely balanced with beer. You have this bitterness, fizziness, sparkliness. Not too much present, but it is there. It complements each other, beer and tomato. And of course scotch. Scotch is there for a base. I think spirit was missing in the classic red eye. So that's for sure 100% an elevation of this drink, at least from my point of view. And I hope you like it as well. I'd say I managed to elevate the drinks that made bartending mainstream in the late 80s. But is Tom a better Flair bartender than me? Let's find out by making the turquoise blue, just like Brian Flanagan did in the cell block. I did a bit of Flair bartending at an early stage of my career. As long as your bottles are prepared, you practice enough, and you're not slowing down the workflow too much, it can be really fun. When you're entertaining a guest, you can even get away with a speed pour being off by a small amount, especially with drinks that are made with fruit juices, liqueurs, and sweet and sour mix. So as long as the drink you make tastes good, and everyone's having a good time, go for it. There's a time and a place to enjoy Flair bartending, just like the speakeasy is a place to appreciate the art of mixology. I enjoyed making this, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that would enjoy drinking it too. And here's the turquoise blue. Cheers! We threw some bottles, I tried the red eye, and we elevated a few cocktails from the 80s and 90s. I'd say, not too bad for someone who once shook a Cuba Libre, right? So if the movie Cocktail or an episode of Cocktail Time inspires you to start bartending, remember Costa's law, never shake anything fizzy. You can check out more beer cocktails here. And until next time, cheers, friends of cocktails.